listeners, and welcome to this week's recording of Boomerang. Team 5 is made up of Sadie, John, Claire and Rosemary, and our engineer today is Ray. The news this week is taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier dated the 20th of March 2025. As usual, the news will be broken into parts, and can I remind you, when you have listened to the whole recording, please post your wallet back to us from a post box and not the post office. Now we'll start with part 1 and general news. And this first item is the headline item today. It's headed, Nicolas there for others in memory of beautiful soul. A women's support group set up in memory of a nurse from Bathgate has officially opened its doors. Nicolas was launched by June Smiley with the help of a team of volunteers. June, who's been a nurse for 37 years and works as team leader of the Practice Mental Health Nurse Service in West Lothian. She set up the help group in memory of mum of 2, Nicola Tyne. Nicola had endometriosis and took her own life in January last year, aged just 35, after feeling she was no longer able to suffer the horrendous pain after scheduled surgery was postponed. She had suffered pain for 15 months, and after being told she would undergo surgery in a month to 3 months, she was then given the devastating news it would be a further 18 months. The further wait seemed to be the tipping point for Nicola. She wrote letters to all her family members before, tragically, she was found dead at home a couple of days after receiving the news. Her sudden death came as a shock to those who knew and loved her, including extended family member June, who decided to help keep Nicola's memory alive by launching a group that's open to all women. The volunteers have a wealth of experience in different fields and come from a variety of backgrounds, including health, social care and education. Nicola's mum, Elaine Watson, was among those present at the official launch of the group, and she cut the ribbon to officially open the women's support group. Councillor Harry Cartmill spoke prior to the ribbon cutting, saying, "It's an absolute honour to be here today in the company of all these wonderful ladies. It's a sad circumstance that got us here, but this is such a wonderful way to remember a truly remarkable person. And this will help others. That's what's all about, helping others and bringing hope from tragedy. So I'm delighted to be here today." June added, "I'd just like to thank everybody who supported us over the last 4 weeks while we've been setting up. Nicolas is open to every woman who wants to come along, that are maybe going through life events or have physical health condition that's impacting on their mental health.
There's volunteers to help with projects. Bog Hall Drop-In Centre in Bathgate is looking for volunteer help to remove an old storage shed and for donations to build new storage. Almost 20 third section groups have already signed up to the wish list. Stuart Barry, the operations manager at West Lothian Voluntary Sector Gateway, which speaks to the third sector, told the local democracy reporting service, "It's fantastic to see the community benefit wish list at West Lothian Council. It's a great platform for third sector and community organisations to get a helping hand from businesses as part of the procurement process. It's a great example of community wealth building within West Lothian, supporting local people and projects." Julie Henderson from the Veni in Knightsbridge, which has added to the wish list, told the LDRS, "I hope the wish list is helpful. It was difficult to know what to put on it. I kept it quite general. Not heard anything from it so far. It is just a thought. If the companies had something to offer, it might be easier to have a list where we can pick it from. It could work well if it is managed properly. Further details from the Community Benefit Wish List can be found online at https www.westlothian.gov.uk/articles/84313/community benefit wishlist.
SNP hold in Broxburn by-election. The Scottish National Party has held on to the Broxburn ward seat in a by-election with the unlikely help of Reform. Mike Carlin
over 3,000 dogs into living homes and provides a lifelong safe haven for dogs who are disabled or not adoptable at their 2 permanent shelters, which are home to over 300 dogs. It also operates regular free dog and cat spay-neuter campaigns, working within the local community to educate people about animal welfare. The charity's founder, Scotswoman Hilary Anderson, said, "I'm thrilled to be celebrating 10 years of our life-changing charity. What started as a small rescue set up in response to the Romanian killing law and the horrendous conditions in many public shelters, we have gone from strength to strength. I'm so proud of the impact we're making in our local community and the difference we have made to the lives of so many dogs for whom we were their only hope. We simply could not do what we do without supporters like Pauline, who adopt or foster dogs. This makes space for us to take in the next dog in need. Likewise, we are so grateful to our wonderful sponsors and donors who keep doggy bellies full, vet bills paid, and enable our shelters to operate. We cannot thank them enough for helping us to reach our 10th birthday. For information on dogs available for adoption, details about sponsorship and donating visit www.barkingmaddogrescue.co.uk. BMDR also has an active Facebook page.
And that brings us to the end of part 1. Welcome back to part 2. We will start with the family announcements.
McAvoy, Margaret, Gullen. At the East Lothian Community Hospital on Tuesday the 11th of March 2025, Margaret, aged 92 years. Beloved wife of the late Ian, much loved mum, gran, great-gran, sister, auntie and friend. Funeral service will be held in the Pentland Chapel at Morton Hall Crematorium on Thursday the 27th of March at 12:30pm, to which all family and friends are respectfully invited. Family flowers only, please, but a retiring collection will be taken for Chest, Heart and Stroke Scotland. Nickel, Robert Miller, Bob. Peacefully at Summerdale Care Home, Brightons, on the 9th of March 2025, Bob, aged 92 years. Beloved husband of the late Jessie, dearly loved dad of Laura and Norma, father-in-law to Di and Gordon, and a much-loved granddad of Jess, Lewis and Megan, sadly missed by all. Bathgate. Todd, Jean. 18th of September 1935 to the 15th of March 2025, Armadale. Dearly loved mum, gran and great-gran. The funeral service will be held on Wednesday the 26th of March at 3pm at West Lothian Crematorium.
And now back to the general news. This item is headed Grow Group Thankful for Defibrillator and is by Ross Thompson. Taylor Wimpey, East Scotland, has donated a public access defibrillator known as PAD to Winchborough Community Growing Group to benefit the community in the immediate local area. This latest defibrillator has become the guardianship of the Winchborough Community Growing Group. It is accessible 24 hours a day at their community garden in Old Cathy Park in Winchborough Village, and the group will look after and maintain the equipment to ensure that it's available to anyone who needs it. As part of a joint initiative with the British Heart Foundation, the home builder is donating potentially life-saving pads to communities around the UK to help people who suffer from an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. Peter Goldie, Regional Health and Safety and Environmental Advisor for Taylor Wimpey, East Scotland, said, "It's so important to us that we give something back to the communities where we're building. Our partnership with the British Heart Foundation is vitally important in helping to ensure that more defibrillators." Welcome back to part 3. We will begin with the quiz and then continue with the general news. Right. Brains engaged. Here we go. 10 questions coming up. Number 1. Which word, beginning with the letter M, can be a Portuguese island group, a fortified wine, or a type of cake? A. Magdalena, B. Madeira, C. Monticello. Number 2. Hemophobia, which affects TV sitcom character Doc Martin, is a fear of what? A. Blood, B. People, C. The sea. Number 3. Who co-presented the ITV series It's Not Rocket Science with Ben Miller and Romesh Ranganathan? A. Liz Bonin, B. Brian Cox, C. Rachel Riley. Number 4. Whose faces are carved into Mount Rushmore, South Dakota? A. 4 US presidents, B. 4 evangelists, C. 4 founding fathers. Number 5. Which warrior princess was played on TV in the 1990s by Lucy Lawless? A. Boudica, B. Xena, C. Zenobia. Number 6. Yehudi Menuhin was a famous performer on which instrument? A. Piano, B. Violin, C. Guitar. Number 7. Which chess piece usually takes the form of a horse's head? A. Knight, B. Rook, C. Pawn. Number 8. What name from the German for lightning was given to Germany's aerial bombing campaign against Britain in World War II? A. Blitz, B. Ansatz, C. Luftwaffe. Number 9. For what does the U in the acronym SCUBA stand? A. Unique, B. Unassisted, C. Underwater. And finally, number 10. Which antelope is the national animal of South Africa? A. Springbok, B. Impala, C. Eland. And now, as a wee further challenge, can you give the meaning of these unusual words? The first word is piebald, Piebald. Does it mean a small coin 1/12 of an anna, or B. black and white in patches, or C. an earthenware hot water crock? And the second one, hygrometer, Hygrometer. Does that mean A. an instrument used to measure rainfall, B. an instrument used to measure moisture in the atmosphere, or C. an instrument used to measure specific gravity of liquids? Good luck, everyone. And now back to the general news. And this one is headed, Park Now Open. B. Craig's Country Park has been opened to the public for the first time since the January storm. A meeting of Linlithgow Local Area Committee this month heard that the main pathway through the country park had been cleared. But visitors are urged to stick to the paths, as large areas of woodland still have damaged or broken trees following the 24th of January storm, and another mini-storm less than a month later. West Lothian's NET's land and countryside teams received hundreds of calls after more than 2,000 trees came down across the county during Storm Erwin. Andy Johnson, a manager with Countryside Team, said, "The main areas of the park are now open. The main footpaths are now open. However, one or two of the smaller paths are still closed due to fallen trees, and we are working our way through that. The woodland areas in general, if you come off the footpaths, still have a number of hanging trees as well. So, whilst they're open, we advise that people enter the woodland with caution. The amount of trees that have come down has meant we've had to go back and look at our long-term management plans for B. Craig's."
This article is headed Pause for Celebration as Susie takes Best of Breed prize at Crufts, and this article is by Michael Pringle. A West Lothian dog owner enjoyed a highly positively experience at the world's most famous dog show. David Todd from Mid-Calder was delighted when his spaniel was one of the winners at Crufts at the weekend. Susie, a Cocker Spaniel, took the coveted Best of Breed crown at the famous event for canines. Crufts, run by the Kennel Club, took place at the NEC Birmingham and is a unique celebration of happy, healthy dogs and the loving relationships that they enjoy with their owners. It's the world's greatest celebration of dogs, and more than 20,000 four-legged friends and their human companions were welcomed into the NEC Birmingham for the 4-day event, which took place from March the 6th to the 9th this year, with highlights being broadcast on Channel 4. And there's a lovely picture of David sitting with Susie on his lap, and Susie is looking so cool and arrogant on his knee.
The next headline reads, Mum is shining a light on liver disease in kids. Toddler son on transplant waiting list. An article by Ross Thompson. A mum from Livingston, whose 3-year-old son is awaiting a liver transplant, raised over £1,600 last week to support other children with liver disease. Darian Toll's son, Wesley, has the rare disease biliaria atresia. Each year in the UK, 400 children are diagnosed with liver disease. There is currently no cure for childhood liver disease. A diagnosis means a lifetime of medical care. Ever since his diagnosis, my partner James and I have received information and support from Children's Liver Disease Foundation, says Darian. This means a lot to us as we come to terms with learning how to manage a serious and lifelong condition. So I've always joined in with Big Yellow Friday, the charity's annual fundraising and awareness day on the first Friday in March, as it's a great way of shining a light on childhood liver disease, something so many people just don't know about. This year, however, it has an added importance as Wesley was listed for transplant in December. Thankfully, he remains his happy, cheeky little self, but we know that we will need the support of Children's Liver Disease Foundation more than ever this next stage of our journey, and I want the charity to be there for every family in our situation. So I wanted to do something, whatever I could, to support Big Yellow Friday this year. Darian organised a week of fundraising activities at Wexpressive Creative Art Studio in Livingston, where she works, and Wesley's nursery and school, St John Ogilvie, also joined in. As well as raising money, teachers spoke with all the classes about liver disease in children, and Wesley got to tour the school, receiving amazing support from all the children and staff, which is so important in helping him realise he is no different from other boys and girls. He just happens to have a poorly liver. I'm delighted to have received such fantastic support from our local community and to have played a part in helping other children like Wesley. The combined total of £1,600 certainly exceeded my expectations. Every year in the UK, around 400 children are diagnosed with a liver condition for which there is still no cure, added Michelle Wilkins, Head of Children's and Family Services at Children's Liver Disease Foundation, which has now merged with the British Liver Trust to bring children's and adult liver support services together. A diagnosis means a lifetime of medical care, and the effect on families is devastating. Big Yellow Friday is a great opportunity to raise much-needed funds and awareness of these little-known but complex conditions, so we are delighted to hear that Darian has joined in this way. Having a child on the transplant list is very tough, and the fact that Darian has taken the time and trouble to support us in this way is truly inspiring. We are very grateful. The school community voted to support Wesley in this great cause by wearing yellow, to raise awareness and giving a small donation. The ELC had a whole day of yellow-themed activities, including yellow snack, yellow water, and playing hook-a-duck. A fantastic day was had by all, and a wonderful sum of £400 raised for the Children's Liver Disease Foundation. Head teacher Joanne McKissick said this is a cause very close to her heart, supporting one of our pupils and his family. I'd like to thank our wonderful pupils and fantastic school community for their support for our Big Yellow Friday activities this year. Thanks to their efforts, we'll have £400 going to the Children's Liver Foundation to support children and families sadly impacted by liver disease. You can find out more about Big Yellow Friday via https://childliver.disease.org/bigyellow-friday-info/.
Bikers warned of trail spike traps, an article by Stuart Somerville. Police have responded to new reports of spike traps being left on trails in West Lothian to deter motorcyclists. In August last year, it was reported that police were hunting a person who laid a homemade stinger to deter motorcyclists from using trails on the Phillipston Bing. A mountain bike rider was injured when he crossed the homemade device of a metal plate with nails welded into it. In his latest report to Linlithgow Local Area Council, Local Community Sergeant Lee Brodie said his community officers had removed all spikes from the Bing. Sergeant Brodie's report covered the third quarter of the year from October to 31st of December. In it, he said, officers also responded to reports of spikes left in the Bing area. Officers removed all spikes that they found and have liaised with the landowner to mitigate similar issues in the future. However, we would particularly like to remind the public that this causes a significant risk of injury to children, adults, domestic animals and wildlife. Police Scotland confirmed that there had been reports of the homemade traps laid in March last year. A stinger is more formally known as a tactical deflation device to burst tyres, an interconnected roll of pliable metal spikes normally used by police officers to stop vehicles they are pursuing or which are being driven dangerously. Police continue to liaise with dog walkers and other users of the Bing who are urged to be on the lookout for crude homemade stingers concealed on pathways.
This next item is headed, Band Become Champions for the 23rd time. A West Lothian band will represent Scotland at the National Brass Band Championships of Great Britain in the Royal Albert Hall after becoming Scottish champions for the third time in 4 years. Whitburn Band, conducted by its musical director, Professor Nicolas, won the competition for the 23rd time last weekend at Perth Concert Hall. It was a good day for the Whitburn Band organisation overall, as Whitburn Heartlands, another brass band affiliated with the Whitburn Band, finished in third place in the fourth section of the championships with its conductor, Peter Holmes. Whitburn has now been the Scottish champion on 3 occasions in the last 4 years, and several of the band's players have also won individual and sectional prizes. Scott Forrest, Chris Bradley and Graham Fraser picked up the prizes for Best Soprano, Cornet and Bass, respectively, while Graham, his brother Robert, Alan Gourley and his brother Neil won the prize for Best Bass Section. Cameron Shanks, Hannah McInnes and Emma Dunn won the prize for Best Percussion. Whitburn's victory means they will represent Scotland at the National Brass Band Championships of Great Britain at the Royal Albert Hall in London in October and the European Brass Band Championships in Linz in Austria.
Blackpool Victory is Big Triumph by Ian Bunting. A West Lothian butcher enjoyed a tasty triumph at this year's Smithfield Awards as its black pudding was crowned Britain's best. Hugh Black and Son was one of 10 artisan butchers from across the UK to be crowned top of their class. The family firm, which has shops in Armadale, Bathgate, Linlithgow and Whitburn, won the Diamond Award in the black pudding category in what is widely recognised as the meat trade's most high-profile and challenging product evaluation. Organised by the Kew Guild of Butchers, the Smithfield Awards, which have run for more than 30 years, recognise and reward the UK's finest craft butchery products, including sausages, bacon, burgers, steak and game, and barbecue products. Scoring 65 points out of a possible 70, Hugh Black and Son's black pudding was described by judges as an excellent black pudding in terms of taste, texture and composition. The coveted Diamond Award was presented to Hugh Black and Sons by Professor John Gilliland, OBE DSc, a renowned authority on sustainable agriculture and food security. The Lanarkshire Butcher also made the final shortlist on the traditional pork sausage category with its pork-linked sausages and Best Butcher Steak category with its rib-eye fillet steak, with both receiving Gold Award status, the highest possible rating from the Guild. Hugh Black and Sons was also awarded silver status for its Scotch pie. Cameron Black from Hugh Black and Sons said, "We've committed to sourcing the best ingredients for our products, and this award is down to the team who do a fantastic job in maintaining quality at all times. It's great to have all that hard work rewarded and win an award as prestigious as this." Gordon Wallace, Kew Guild manager, added, "The standard of entries this year was as high as ever, making Hugh Black and Sons' achievement even more impressive. Being crowned best in class in our black pudding category, along with securing 2 additional gold awards, is a fantastic accomplishment. We were delighted to present them with this award, which not only recognises the exceptional quality of their products, but also contributes to raising industry standards and driving innovation in the craft butchery section. Hugh Black and Sons is one of Scotland's largest independent butchers. Established in 1987 by Hugh Black Sr., it remains a family-run business, with the 3rd generation now starting to learn the trade. For more information, visit its website.
Competition time now, and your chance to win a £25 gift card to spend at Livingston Centre. At the Centre, Livingston, there's over 150 fantastic stores to choose from, including New Look, Flannels and River Island, and a fantastic variety of places to eat out, including Wagamama, Five Guys and Las Iguanas. If you are looking for inspiration for gifts to buy for Mother's Day on Sunday, March the 30th, the Centre Livingston has got everything you need to show your thanks and appreciation for your loved one on this special day. You can treat Mum to everything from a new spring cosy jumper at Primark and trending suede bag at H&M to some pampering me-time goodies at Lush or Rituals. For mums with a sweet tooth, look no further than Hotel Chocolat, especially the Mother's Day Everything Sleekster box with 27 of their most iconic chocolates. And for flowers, check out the stunning Rose and Lysianthus Mother's Day bouquet at Marks & Spencer's. When it comes to cards, Clinton's has a fantastic range in all sizes, from cute and sentimental to funny and thoughtful, which are guaranteed to make mum smile. To be in with a chance of winning a £25 gift card to spend at the Centre Livingston, simply send your answer to the competition question below to ross.thompson@reachplc.com by Monday, March the 24th. What date is Mother's Day this year? Is it A, March the 30th, B, March the 18th, or C, March the 11th? And good luck.
Boot Bank can be big help to our footballers, an article by Ross Thompson. Teamwork is everything in football, and Livingston MP Gregor Ponton is urging people across West Lothian to play their part in backing local side Falthouse United in their latest venture, a football boot bank. The price of everything is creeping up at the moment, and that can mean difficult choices for families, with many having to forgo certain luxuries. In some cases, that can mean shelving sporting aspirations, with the cost of expensive equipment proving just too much to carry. Falthouse United don't want would-be local footballers to give up on their dreams, though, or for people to see their health suffer, and have recently set up the bank to make sure people who want to play the game can without worrying about the cost of the kit. The East of Scotland League side are asking for donations of boots of all sizes for boys, girls, men and women, and the MP for the Livingston constituency was only too happy to make a contribution. Gregor Ponton MP said, "When I heard Falthouse United were looking for help, I feared they wanted me to pull on the boots again, which might have been a challenge. So I was relieved when I realised they were just hoping I could donate some footwear instead. I love this idea. It shows a real sense of community and exactly why local clubs like this one are so important. The cost of living crisis shouldn't be a barrier to kids chasing their dreams of being the next Andy Robertson or Aaron Cuthbert, or to mums and dads staying fit, so this project is really important. I was more than happy to make a donation to it, and I really hope others in the local area or beyond do likewise, if they feel they can afford it or have some old boots going spare." Falthouse United Director of Football, Stephen Sharp, added, "At Falthouse United, we believe football should be inclusive for all, no matter your background or financial situation. That's why we set up the Football Boot Bank, to help ease the financial burden on families and individuals, to ensure that cost is never a barrier to playing the game we all love. Our club and football is much more than just what happens on the park. It brings people together, builds friendships and can strengthen communities. That's why we want to do everything we can to support our community and make sure no one is left behind. We're incredibly grateful to Gregor for his generous donation. His support will make a real difference to local players, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to enjoy the game without worrying about the cost of boots. It's been fantastic to see people giving back to the community and helping to support grassroots football. We really appreciate the kindness, generosity and support. To request or donate boots, contact the club's Facebook page or email technical@falthouseunited.co.uk.
This next item is by Stuart Somerville and it's headed, "Leisure Trust must fund NI contributions for its staff." West Lothian Leisure will have to fund the increases in national insurance contributions for its staff when they come into force in April, it has been confirmed. Kenneth Ribbons, the acting head of finance, said the arm's-length operator of the county's leisure and swimming facilities would be expected to cover the increased staff costs from its own budget. The revelation came as Mr Ribbons confirmed the annual funding by the council to the Leisure Trust of £1.49 million. The opposition SNP's deputy group leader, Pauline Stafford, voiced concern that the trust would be saddled with the extra costs, adding the services are provided on behalf of the council and mean a lot to people. National insurance contributions for employers will increase from 13.8% to 15% in April 2025. This is a 1.2 percentage point increase. Employers will start to pay employer NICs on salaries from £5,000, reduced from £9,100. The cost across the councils are expected to be in the region of £6 million. So far, the Scottish Government has only agreed to part fund the increases. Despite the expectation that councils would have increased costs met in full, any announcement from the Chancellor is unlikely before the spring statement at the end of this month. There have been widespread fears that without extra funding, services will eventually be cut, as external organisations providing services such as West Lothian Leisure and some healthcare providers have to trim costs. West Lothian Leisure is already on a path to becoming fully funded following agreements made last year. Mr Ribbons told the meeting, "The Council is proposing to provide £1.49 million funding to West Lothian Leisure and is £560,000 less than in 24-25 as a result, firstly, of a previously approved £500,000 reduction in core funding provided by the Council, secondly, an annual £60,000 repayment by West Lothian Leisure of prudential borrowings provided by the Council for gym expansions at Excite Bathgate and Excite Whitburn. West Lothian Leisure is forecasting a surplus of £125,000 in 24-25 and a year-end cash balance of £1.6 million. West Lothian Leisure set its 25-26 budget at the board meeting on the 5th of March. There are a number of income-generating initiatives and management are working on, and council officers are continuing to work with the Trust to bring these to fruition. Councillor Pauline Stafford asked, was there any consideration of allocating some of the money coming from the Scottish Government to cover national insurance rise and giving this to West Lothian to help them with their costs? Answering a follow-up question, Mr Ribbons added he did not know what the costs for the Trust would be. Councillor Stafford said, "We are disappointed that no provision has been made to help West Lothian Leisure with these extra costs that are coming, given that they provide services on behalf of the council."
£39 million paid out for West Lothian kids by Ross Thompson. Since the launch of the Scottish Child Payment in 2021, over £39 million has been paid out to families in West Lothian. SNP's Fiona Hislop has highlighted new figures which show the payments since the introduction of the payments by the Scottish Government. Following the passing of the Scottish Budget for 2025-26, the Scottish Child Payment will increase to £27.15 per week for each eligible child from the 1st of April next year. The Linlithgow MSP said, "The First Minister is clear one of the key missions of his government is to eradicate child poverty in Scotland, and this year's Scottish Budget takes steps to achieve this. I'm proud to be part of a government that is choosing to support children and families across West Lothian, and this milestone achievement of £39 million in Scottish child payments provided to families in West Lothian shows the Scottish Government's commitment to supporting families."
Next, we have a crime report from Cara Blackhall. Headline reads, "Cops hunt hooded thieves after early morning zoo raid." A group of alleged thieves were caught on CCTV at a West Lothian zoo during the early hours of Wednesday morning. Police have launched a probe after the incident took place at Five Sisters Zoo in West Calder shortly before 1 a.m. on Wednesday. The team say one of their buggies was stolen before the crooks attempted to take a quad bike. Bosses say 3 young men entered the zoo grounds and stole a Kubota buggy, a vital vehicle used by the zookeeping team to help them carry out their daily tasks and care for animals. Officers from Police Scotland say their inquiries into the theft remain ongoing. In a video which was shared with Edinburgh Live, the young men were seen attempting to push the quad bike out of the grounds. In other videos, they were seen prowling the area and appeared to be dressed in all black. Issuing an urgent appeal on social media, Five Sisters Zoo said, at 12:55 a.m, 3 young men trespassed into the zoo grounds and stole a Kubota buggy. They also attempted to take one of her quad bikes, which thankfully was not taken. These vehicles are vital for our zookeeping team to carry out their daily tasks and care for our animals. We have attached some footage in the comments and are currently reviewing more camera angles. If you have any information that could help us recover the buggy or identify those responsible, please contact us. Please share this post. The power of social media could help us track this down. A Police Scotland spokesperson said around 8:34 a.m. on Wednesday, March the 12th, 2025, we received a report of a break-in to and the theft of a buggy from a premise on Polbeth Road, West Calder. Inquiries are ongoing. Anyone with any information is asked to contact 101, quoting reference 0593 of March 12, 2025. It comes after a gang of hooded yobs were caught on CCTV targeting a business in a separate, unrelated incident in Bathgate. Locals warned the feral youths were tearing the town to bits after the incident outside a premise in South Bridge Street on March the 6th. The CCTV showed the group of boys, some with their faces covered, outside the business after dark. One of the masked youths can be seen picking up a large traffic cone and launching it over his head at the building at around 8 p.m. Another could be seen aiming another projectile towards the CCTV camera. An alarm could be heard blaring moments later before the youth flee the scene. A local resident said that the boys' behaviour was giving Bathgate a bad name and that property was being targeted relentlessly, adding they are tearing the town to bits. Police Scotland confirmed they received a report of youths throwing items at premises in Bathgate, although no damage was caused.
This next article is by Michael Pringle. Thousands took advantage of free tuition fees. Thousands of students in West Lothian benefited from free tuition fees in 2024. The figures showing a total of 3,830 students in the local authority area didn't have to pay fees for higher education because of the Scottish Government's free tuition policy during 2024, have been highlighted by the SNP's Fiona Hislop. The MSP for the Linlithgow constituency, which includes Bathgate, Armadale and Whitburn, was Scotland's Minister for Education and Learning when the graduate endowment fee was abolished 17 years ago. She said, "It is clear that the Scottish Government are committed to continue to ensure free tuition for West Lothian students is protected. We have seen the UK Labour Government increase fees for students, while in this year's Scottish budget, the Scottish Government have again chosen to protect free tuition." As the Government Minister who originally abolished the graduate endowment fee, which was a back-end university tuition fee and an unfair education tax in order to make higher education free in Scotland, I am proud to see the SNP Government are committed to keeping university free for students in Scotland. This policy has been life-changing for students across West Lothian over the years, and just last year we've seen at least 3,830 West Lothian students benefit from this important policy. I look forward to seeing more students in West Lothian and across Scotland benefit from this policy in the years to come.
This next item is headed, "If I hadn't gone to my GP, I might not be here today." Jackie Kelly is... And that brings us to the end of part 3.
Yeah, about the service. It's very unique. There's nothing like the advice shop, I would say, right across Scotland, because we have drop-in facilities. You can drop in and see someone face to face. We have outreach. You can get advice on the telephone. You can get advice on a video conferencing platform. You can get advice by looking online. We keep our website up to date as well. So we like to think that we are really accessible so that people can get advice at a time and in a way that suits them.
That's wonderful. That is a really broad brush you use then. That's a lot of different services. However, do you have staff that can deal specifically with inquiries from a visually impaired person?
All our staff undertake equalities training. We have a really good working relationship with the Royal National Institute for the Blind. So, they will provide some training for us. We can access their tools, anything that they've got. The way we operate our services is we want to empower people to be able to do things themselves. However, we absolutely recognise that that's not possible for everyone. And if we're thinking about disability forums, you've got an 80-page forum there. We will absolutely help you with that. We will fill it out for you. We will ask you the questions and we will write that forum or type it up. So we will do absolutely everything that we can to help and support anyone that with any impairment that comes into our service to make sure that they get all that help and support. And if that means having to refer people on, we can do that. But generally, we are able to help most people that access our service.
Okay, thank you. Now, in light of the budget, which was aimed at working people, and the fact that many of our listeners will be in receipt of one form of benefit or another, can you carry out a benefits check for our listeners if they haven't had one recently so that they can be sure they're receiving all the money that they're entitled to?
Yeah, absolutely. That's our bread and butter, if you like. Anybody that comes in